Hello again everyone. Welcome back to lesson 3 of the Makeblock Steam on Board course. I'm sure you guys are starting to get the hang of the looks feature of the program. So far, I've seen videos of some of your work that was sent to us by your parents. Well done guys. Keep on keeping on. My name is Abdul Razak Esakjee from uTyala STEM Institute, and I will be guiding you guys throughout this lesson. As before, let's do a quick recap of what we learned in lesson 2. So let's start off with the homework. If you've successfully gone through the homework from lesson 2, it should look something like this. So if your homework for lesson 2 looked like the previous video, then congratulations, you're on the right track. If not, I want you to figure out why it didn't turn out that way and what needs to be done in order to fix it. So as a review, in lesson 2, we covered some of the blocks that can be found in the Events tab as well as in the Looks tab. We also learned the difference between the time-dependent block as well as the time-independent block. To summarize lesson 2, events are used to activate the program, just like a power button. Looks blocks are used to display visual outputs. The Say Hello block displays text in a visual manner, just like a comic book. We also learned that all of the text that is written in the white part can be changed to whatever we want it to be. Right, so as the saying goes, all work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy. So let's have some fun with another game. So after Panda landed on Earth, he enjoyed reading a book called Journey to the West. He even watched the movie. Panda especially liked Monkey King because of all of the cool powers that he had. Panda liked him so much that he wrote a program that demonstrates all of Monkey King's powers. So I've added a link in the description where you can access the file for the game. When you click on the link, your web browser will direct you to an online version of Makeblock. When the browser opens, click on File and then Save to My Computer. I'm sure by now you guys know that you will find the File tab in the menu bar, right? After it's saved on your computer, you can then open the file using your Mblock software. So now that you have the game open in full screen mode, here's how the game works. You use the up and down keys of the keyboard to control the sizes of Monkey King. You use the right and left keys of the keyboard to control the colors of Monkey King. Use the A and D keys of the keyboard to control the separation and integration of Monkey King. Use the W and S keys of the keyboard to control the left and right turns of Monkey King's body. And lastly, use the space key to make Monkey King return to his original state. Okay, cool. So I hope you guys had loads of fun with the Monkey King game. Now we have a problem. Panda wants to have the same type of powers as Monkey King. And Panda needs you to write a program. So for us to get going with this, we need to make sure that we have all of the necessary tools. Firstly, you will need a computer with the Makeblock software loaded on it. Again, if you don't have the software, I've added a link in the description where you can download it. So I've added a screenshot of the game's program on this window. Let's have a look at it. Notice how each button has its own unique set of blocks, and that they are all not connected to each other. The fact that they are not connected to each other means that they will work independent from each other. The independence part is the secret ingredient. So let's unpack the Events tab. In the Mblock program, events refer to a specific action that will start a set of commands. These can be changed to whatever key that you would like to trigger your program. So let's think about this. If you have two independent things that you want to happen in your program, would you use the same key or different keys to trigger the event? You'd use different keys, right? So now we know that Mblock allows for different keys to be assigned to different things. That's quite cool, right? Again, we're going to be using the Events tab and the Looks tab for this session. So in previous lessons, we used the When Green Flag is Clicked block from the Events tab. This time, we're going to be using the When Space Key is Clicked. You will see that there is a small arrow just to the right of the word space. If you click on that arrow, it will give you the option to select whatever key that you want. Now in the Looks tab, you will find a block called Change Size by 10. Notice that the number 10 is written on a white background. This means that you can change the value to whatever you want. Remember that you guys have probably done scaling in class? This is exactly the same thing. The number that you choose for this type of block is actually the scale of how you want to change the image. Now here's the fun part of maths. If you want to make something bigger, you're actually adding to it, right? And if you want to make something smaller, you're taking away from it, right? Now have a look at the change size block on the screen. One has a normal 10 written in it, and the other has a minus sign just before the number 10. The one with the normal 10 is a positive number, meaning that it will add 10 each time. The plus sign is not shown, but this still counts as a positive number. For this type of number, we say that the plus sign is implicit, kind of like a silent letter in a word. We also say that the negative sign is explicit, meaning that it has to be there for it to take effect. Make sense? The next block in the Looks tab that we'll be using is the Change Color Effect by 25 block. This block also has a little arrow next to the word color, which allows you to choose a bunch of other features. We use this block to change the visual effects of a sprite. Lastly, we will use the Clear Graphic Effects block. This will work like a reset button. So if your sprite is totally disfigured and you want it to get back to normal, you can add an additional script which allows you to reset your sprite. Cool, right? Okay, so it's practicals time again. This is where we get to take all of the stuff that we learned and put it into practice. So again, for this section, I suggest that you split your screen in half. Adjust the window where you're watching the video on one side of the screen, and then adjust the Makeblock software window to the other half of your screen. Like this, you'll be able to move from one video to the software without too much of hassles. Also, after each step that's demonstrated on the video, pause the video and then try it out for yourself. Remember, try not to learn these steps like a recipe. Understand why you're doing what you are doing. If you feel that you can anticipate what is the next steps, go ahead and try it out for yourself. Let's see if it is exactly what you thought it was supposed to be. Okay, let's get cracking. So if you open up your Makeblock software, it's kind of going to look like what's on my screen now. First thing you want to make sure is that the Sprites tab is activated in your stage area. The next thing we're going to do is look for the Events tab, click on it, and then take the When space key is pressed, drag that block, and drop it onto your script area. Next thing you're going to do then is go to your Looks tab, and then look for the Change Size by 10 block, which is this guy over here. Drag it, and stick it on. The next thing we're going to do now is click on the small arrow that's next to the space tab and change that to the up arrow. So what this essentially means now is that when I press the up arrow, it's going to increase or change the size by positive 10. Remember we spoke about the implicit and explicit thing on positive signs and negative signs? So because it isn't a negative sign in front of this number 10, it's assumed to be positive. So when you press the up arrow, it's going to increase the size of your sprite by a number 10. Cool? Right. Next thing we're going to do now is click on the Events tab again. Take the same block when space key is pressed. Drag it and drop it into your script area. Click on your Looks tab. Take a Change Size by 10 tab, block. Drag it and drop it on your second piece of code. You're then going to click on a small arrow and change it to a down arrow. Second thing you're going to do is click on the white area and type in -10. So essentially now when you press the down arrow, it's going to change the size by -10, meaning it's going to make it smaller, right? Cool.
click on the Events tab again, drag a when space key is pressed block, drop it on, and then go to the Looks tab again and look for the block that says Change Color Effect by 25, which is this guy here. Snap it on. If you click on the arrow that's next to the word color, you'll see a bunch of other stuff there. So there's color, fisheye, well, pixelate, mosaic, brightness, and ghost. So these are the different visual features that you can choose in order to change your sprite. So in this example now, we're going to use the mosaic feature. So it says change mosaic effect by 25. Cool. The next thing you're going to do now is click on the small arrow and change your key to the left arrow, like so. Go back to your events, click on when space key is pressed, drag it and drop it in, click on looks again, take another change color effect by 25, snap it on, and then change the color to mosaic, and lastly change the value from positive 25 to minus 25. The next thing you're going to do then is click on the small arrow next to space and change this to right arrow. So in the game that you guys played, I used the feature called pixelate, and you saw what happened there, right? It became blur and then it became clear again. So I want you guys now to have a look at the mosaic feature and what that actually does. The last thing you're going to do now is click on events, click on the when space key is pressed, drag it and drop it down in the center with any other space in your script area. Click on looks and then look for the clear graphics effects, which is this block over here. Snap it on. We're going to keep the when space bar is pressed. We're going to keep it as space bar, right? So now we have a total of 5 independent commands. So up arrow, down arrow, left arrow, right arrow, and space bar. And each of these different keys do completely different things. So for example, the up arrow is going to increase size by 10, down arrow is going to decrease size by 10. Left arrow is going to change the mosaic effect by 25 or positive 25. Right arrow is going to change the mosaic effect by minus 25. And then lastly, the space button is going to clear your graphic effect. So now that we've got our blocks sorted out, let's go and test it out. So first thing we're going to do now is go into full screen mode. And if I press the up arrow, penna gets bigger. If I press the down arrow, penna gets smaller. If I press the left arrow, penna turns into a decreasing mosaic. If I press the right arrow, penna still turns into a decreasing mosaic, but kind of in the opposite direction. So let's make it big, increased mosaic. And now if I want to get back to normal, I press the space bar and then it resets the graphic. Okay, so that's the end of the visual appearance manipulation practical, and now it's time to get to the homework.
Okay, so it's homework time now. Here's what you guys need to do. You're going to open up a new program, and in this new program you're going to need to select a nature background for the stage in the background library. The next thing you're going to do is create a program that when the A key is pressed and when the D key is pressed from the events, you need to control a special vortex feature for Panda. Next thing you're going to do is when the W key is pressed and when the S key is pressed, you need to create a disappearing effect for Panda. Lastly, when the space key is pressed, then this must clear the graphic effects and restore Panda to its original state. Make sense? So the vortex effect and disappearing effect are not called that in the drop-down menu. You're kind of going to need to figure out each of these different effects that's available and choose the one that best matches the effect that Panda wants you to have. Again, once you're done with your homework, take a picture of it and post it on Facebook or Instagram and tag uTyala STEM Institute on it. The bonus challenge for this lesson after the homework is done is to include as many possible super features for Panda that the program can allow. Go ahead and try that out as well. So it's quiz time. Same rules, guys. 3 questions, 10 seconds each. Ready, steady, go. So that brings us to the end of lesson 3 of the Makeblock Steam on Board course. I'm sure you guys have noticed that the lessons are becoming a lot more interesting as well as challenging. We've only touched a small part of what the software can actually do. There's still a whole lot more cool stuff that we will be covering. Again, don't forget to take pictures of your homework and bonus challenge and tag us on Facebook and Instagram. Remember to understand why you are doing what you are doing. Until next time, happy programming with Makeblock.